In this video, we're going to go over job costing using tasks inside the service program. So job costing is basically the process of assigning costs that you're going to incur for a specific job that you or your business is doing. Now, you can account for those costs, such as paying your technicians or purchasing parts from the vendors to complete a job. So that's basically what we can do with tasks inside the service program. Now, the time tracking, the pay your employees, the charges for certain items that you've got to purchase from vendors, it could be done in the desktop or on the mobile side, and it will sync into the desktop. But for the purpose of this video, we're just going to work out of the desktop. Now, once you have all those charges for time tracking to pay your tax or charges to, purchase parts from your vendors, we're going to be able to push those into QuickBooks at the end here, and I'll show you how that all works. So let's go ahead and create a task. We're going to create a task in the desktop here, and we're just going to assign that task to anybody that we want. I'm going to go ahead and use China Delight. And we'll just put repair something. So we need to repair something for this customer. Now we're going to assign this task to a technician. Maybe Joe's going to do this job. And let's say we want to charge this customer $1,000 to do this job. Now, we want to kind of find out how much this job is going to cost us. So we know that during this job, we're basically going to have to purchase a part to fix this. So we can go to Bills. And then we can select a vendor. Now, you have to make sure your vendors are set up in the QuickBooks side. Again, these come from QuickBooks, and this only currently works with QuickBooks Desktop. Does not work with the online version yet. So make sure you just have QuickBooks Desktop and you have your vendors set up. If you do not see anything in the drop-down list, click this Update QuickBooks button. From the drop-down, select Vendors, and then hit Reload. Once it's done, it'll bring you back here, and there's our task that we started. So we're going to get back into this task by double-clicking that task number. We still have our line item that we added. And in fact, I think the charge was $1,000. I probably did not put that in the first time. So let's go ahead and make that $1,000. And we're going to click on our Bills tab again. So you should now have those vendors. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this part from a vendor named Another Vendor. And right here, this is an important piece. You need to know if it's billable or not billable. And what this means is if it's billable, when you push it into QuickBooks, you're going to be able to apply this charge to the customer's invoice. If it's not billable, it's something that you're just going to eat the cost on because it's part of your business and the way you do it. So let's say these parts are going to cost us $300. Just go ahead and put in the number there. You can change the memo if you want and change the date if you'd like. You have a bill date and a due date to make that payment. You can also input a reference number. That will go over. So we've got a bill. We can add more by going to the next line and selecting the next vendor and the charge that we want. And right here is the time tracking. So let's say we pay our techs by the hour, and we are basically going to have Joe do that job. Now, to set up the time tracking, it's a process. You have to have QuickBooks set up first. You have to have them marked as hourly or salary. You have to have the numbers set up. And then from there, you have to do certain things in the software to kick this in. So please refer to our time tracking videos and how to set that up. All right, so from here, we're going to select Joe. That's the employee doing the job. And again, we have this billable or non-billable option. So non-billable or not billable just means that, it's part of what you pay your tech for. You're expecting to make enough profit off the job. Or billable is something that you actually want to be able to apply to that invoice for the customer at the end. So not only are you going to charge them $1,000 for the line items, but you may actually charge them for the time and or the parts. The customer name will show up right here. And then you have a service item that must come from QuickBooks. That'll come from your item list. And this is just basically what we're going to put that charge against when it gets into QuickBooks. Now, you have to enter the start and ending time for this technician's work. Again, you can add this on the mobile side. It will pull into the desktop. But for this video, I'm just doing it all right here. So let's say he worked from 9 a.m. till 10:30 a.m. And the system will automatically account for the duration in minutes. You can put in any comments you want, and you must have a payroll item in here. Let's say this person is hourly. Again, if you want to add more from left to right along the bottom, just select the next employee and go through the process. So right now we've already got kind of our job costing set up, our time tracking, what we're paying the tech and how long he's on site, the bills the things that we need to pay for from the vendors, and we also have our charge for the customer. I'm going to go ahead and close this task. That kind of saves everything, even though it really should save itself. But from here, to access the two other areas that we need, right here is the employee time tracking. So if we go to miscellaneous, employee time tracking, we're going to see what I entered here for that customer, China Delight, and Joe was doing the work. You'll see all the information here. I marked them as billable. To get into this and push this to QuickBooks, you have to double click this transaction number here on the left. It takes you into a subscreen, and you can put in the date. Again, you can change it from billable to non-billable if you want. You can adjust anything you need to here. Put in a note, whatever you want to do. Then you can hit this Post to QuickBooks button. Make sure QuickBooks is open on the desktop. It'll ask you if you'd like to create this timekeeping record in QuickBooks. Yes would be the answer. And it's going to push to QuickBooks. As soon as it's done, it's going to tell you it's posted to QuickBooks. You'll notice this circle here is now black. That means it's there. So we've pushed our time tracking in. And now we want to push in that bill. So miscellaneous bill list. Right here, you're going to see that charge that I put in there for $300 for the customer China Delight. And that's my vendor. Again, we're going to double click that transaction number to get in there. You're going to have all the information here. Now, really important, you can add a reference number, it doesn't matter. But what is important here, I would generally recommend terms, but these two are important. Your expense and your AP account, you must have something entered here. So maybe my expense account is my bank service charge, and my AP account is going to be account payable. I'm going to go ahead and post this to QuickBooks. It'll ask us if we'd like to do that. Yes, we would. As soon as it goes to QuickBooks, you get this black dot here. So that's in QuickBooks also now. Last step, we want to go ahead and invoice this task. So we've got our time tracking in there. We've got our bills in there. Now we want to charge this customer also for the line items, whatever we selected to do this job with. All we have to do is make sure that there's actually a resolution in this big box here. It could be anything. Just needs at least something typed in here. It could be the letter J for all we care, but you have to have something. Then you're going to click the Invoice button. System's going to ask if you'd like to create an invoice. Yes, we would. It's going to open up this invoice here. Again, you'll see the customer, all the information, and you'll notice that we added a line item called Notes. We generally set this up for you upon install of the software. It never has a price associated with it, but what it does do is it gives the customer some information on the actual invoice. So the description of that job was just to repair something, and if we click the down arrow here, the resolution was that we completed the job. Now the last thing is there's our charge for $1,000, and this is waiting to go to QuickBooks. To push this into QuickBooks, we're going to hit Post to QuickBooks. It's going to ask us if we'd like to send it to QuickBooks. Yes, we would. It's going to run for a moment here. And then there you go. It's in QuickBooks now. If we were to open up QuickBooks and look at China Delight, we'll see that invoice there that we just sent over, along with the taxes. And now there's a variety of things you could do from here. You can apply credits. You can add the time and costs that we already pushed in. Because I marked them as billable, if we hit that button, it's going to give us a pop-up of all the times that I've pushed in and the expenses, things that I can basically add to this invoice. You could check them off, click OK, and they just go ahead and throw in here and add to the job if you want them to. Again, that depends on if you mark them as billable or not billable. And the last step is on the QuickBooks side, you can run a variety of reports based upon the employees' times or the charges and the things that you've done, but you'll have to go ahead and Google, QuickBooks Desktop, how to do something specific. So thank you for watching today's video. I hope you have a great day.